Greetings and welcome to the United States Transhumanist Party Virtual Enlightenment Salon. My name is Gennady Stolyarov II, and I am the chairman of the U.S. Transhumanist Party. Here we hold conversations with some of the world's leading thinkers in longevity, science, technology, philosophy, and politics. Like the philosophers of the Age of Enlightenment, we aim to connect every field of human endeavor and arrive at new insights to achieve longer lives, greater rationality, and the progress of our civilization. Greetings, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to our U.S. Transhumanist Party Virtual Enlightenment Salon, streaming on Sunday, September 10th, 2023. Today, we have a fascinating conversation in store for you on longevity advocacy and an ambitious new endeavor to promote public awareness of longevity science, the Say Forever campaign. Joining us is our distinguished panel of U.S. Transhumanist Party officers, members, advisors, including our Director of Visual Art, Art Ramon Garcia, our 2024 U.S. Vice Presidential candidate and Director of Citizen and Community Science, Daniel Tweed, our Legislative Director, Jason Geringer. We also have our Technology Advisor and Foreign Ambassador in Spain, Dr. Jose Cordero, and joining us also is Dr. Aubrey de Grey, who is the President and Chief Science Officer of the Longevity Escape Velocity Foundation, or LEVF, also a distinguished guest on several of our prior virtual enlightenment salons. So we're pleased to have such a distinguished group today. And our special guest and presenter will be Anastasia Egorova, who is the co-founder and CEO of Open Longevity. We've had several conversations with Open Longevity already this year, including in February and April of 2023, when Anastasia presented quite a few of the aspects of her organization to a panel of representatives from other transhumanist organizations, including the U.S. Transhumanist Party. And then I did the same. And Anastasia asked a lot of great questions about the USTP. So now she will talk about the Say Forever campaign, what it involves, what it has achieved, and what it can teach us about effective longevity advocacy. So thank you very much for joining us. Anastasia, you have the floor.
Oh, wow. I'm so happy to be here. Thank you for having me. Kind of nervous. I don't know why, though I know all of you. Okay, so Say Forever. I mean, I'm happy to say some of you, most of you heard about it. So let me tell you a bit more what the thing is about. We still call it Ice Bucket Challenge for Longevity because this was the initial goal. We were very much excited with Ice Bucket Challenge campaign back in the days was the best example of how you create something from nothing. Like basically people were just interested in this cause and very important medical cause, and just on the pure will and no resources at all, they created something, they fundraised, they did some research afterwards. This was amazing, and a lot of folks were involved. Just the basic grassroots campaign, it was very exciting. That's why we were looking for something Ice Bucket Challenge ish for longevity cause. That's why it's still here on my first slide here. But what is it now? What's the Say Forever campaign now? So yeah, this is a group of people, friendly people that are very excited about longevity mostly. And yeah, you probably heard that we do street surveys. This is our major format right now. But over these months, I would say it has grown more than that. So Say Forever is, what is that? And I'm starting really heavy here. It's moral imperative and moral progress. And why is it so important for us? Well, right now, longevity industry, how does it look like? More conferences, more biotech companies, startups, more scientists. Well, I would say not enough. It looks like it's growing, but I would say not enough, but it is. And we see this surface. But I would say the cause is a little bit lost. People are not talking about life extension on these scientific conferences. They are mostly interested in like solving this or that, or maybe even profit from it, or see the immediate result if they're getting involved into like biohacking part of longevity industry. But we are getting to forget the major cause we got into longevity is staying alive. And it's so bizarre to me, it's so weird that we don't call things as they are. And I don't think it helps the movement a lot. I think we see, well, a wave stagnation right now. We kind of see the growth in number of initiatives and conferences, but we don't see the growth in life extension itself. Are there like a lot of news of the new compounds extending lab animals recently? No, we don't really see that anymore. So I don't want the major message to be lost anymore. I want to call things as they are. And I want us to be focused on the moral part of longevity of what we do. And when I'm talking about moral imperatives, I should probably like show you well, what's like the list for us. And here's the one that we are currently using. It's an open longevity website. If you're like pressing the join button on our first screen, this is what you will see. This like 8 major rules we abide, but we can work on them. But basically, this is what we all agree on. Like the group of people that are doing our surveys, we mostly agree on that being alive is better than being dead, and this is the most important thing for us. Or like I personally like the number 7 here. We haven't tried everything possible to achieve immortality yet. Radical life extension requires our involvement. What does it mean? It means that if a person says that, well, immortality is impossible, well, yeah, maybe, probably, but we haven't tried everything yet to say that it's impossible. But also people that are, well, over optimistic and say, yeah, like singularity is just like it's behind the corner, just somewhere in 15, 20 years, we will see radical life extension on its own, it's just happening naturally. Well, I don't agree with that either. I would say it won't happen if we are not personally actively involved in it. So this is just like 2 examples of what our moral imperatives are. Yeah. Another thing I would just really like to say here is we as longevity movement, we are competing with other values, other ideas in the world for resources. We need a lot of resources for our research, and there are other groups of people interested in absolutely different things, and longevity is not the most popular within this. And when we try to compete with them, we try to talk like economical part of it. Some say, hey, you can profit from that. Well, I personally cannot guarantee you that. Some say, hey, it must be good for government. It must save us money because people won't get sick. They will be able to work longer. Well, I cannot guarantee that either. And to be frank, well, maybe it will be the opposite, frankly. We cannot guarantee these things. What we are like our competitive advantage of longevity movement is, and I'm going back here, is our moral ethical part. There is nothing stronger and bolder to say than, hey, saving human lives is good, and not doing that is bad. And yeah, and I think that the moral part of longevity is our major competitive advantage, and we're not using it enough in the movement. Is if anything, we're hiding this part. We're hiding this part, and we're trying to say, hey, we're into healthy longevity, like natural aging, whatever, like bullshit. It has nothing to do with life extension, and there are more and more of that. And right now we see like CEOs of major longevity institutions are advertising a new flavor of a supplement, like longevity supplement. What are we doing even? Like this is how longevity industry is looking right now. So yeah, I would like for all of us to be bolder in the statements, call things as they are, and let's say forever campaign is the tool, is the media, is the way of saying what you actually think. Share your morals with the world, and yeah, moral progress, this is what we're interested in here. Maybe campaigning for longevity is something that will lead to moral progress. But going forward, what is Say Forever also? So these 8 rules, or maybe like some others, you can take a look later. It's obviously a collective, it's a Well, Say Forever right now is a group of people. Some of them are doing street surveys, some are just being online, but collectively we are like super active together. We're daily, hourly. We are in our group chats and on Telegram, since recently on Twitter, group chat, in some other media. We have calls always. And it's collective intelligence. We share our thoughts, and quite a lot of people are very, very active and add some like valuable input in our strategy, in our like wording, in our ethics that we try to present. We are this collective philosopher, as I like to say, and especially since we are on Twitter now, and sometimes we just play with words there. We come into the comments of other like tweets and posts and share longevity vision, and it's great that collectively we can present this like transhumanism or life extension or immortalism or vitalism together, so many like flavors and aspects of that, and it's great there are more people that can do this, not just like one presenter. And yeah, we're a collective advertiser, a collective fundraiser. Hopefully it's great to work together here. And why do we have this collective right now is because we're saying, hey, do you agree that life extension is great? And they say, yeah, I do agree with that. What do I do if I agree with that? I want to do something. I want to be active. And we say, yeah, you can just join us and do something about it together. So the group of people that we have right now, they are all united with this like moral imperative that life extension, that life is the most valuable thing we have. And yeah, this is our like Twitter network score. This chart looks very boring right now, and I'm sorry for that. But at this moment, as we're speaking, my colleagues from the network are working on a better visuals for that. But right now it's a competition, and you can see, by the way, that U.S. Transhumanist Party is on the second place, just after Nathan Chan here. And this is really fun. Most of us who joined our Twitter competition recently didn't have Twitter account at all. But us working together, we now have followers. We now learned how to use this network, how to actually be effective on that, how to do something about it. And I cannot emphasize it enough. Twitter is the major media if you want to do some like politics, some policy, if you want to create some new trend, you cannot sleep on Twitter. Sorry, X. I'm pretty sure everyone will still call it Twitter. But yeah, hopefully we will have better visuals for this competition chart soon. And right now you can just join our Say Forever network on Twitter. This is a very, very simple form. You can just put your Twitter handle there and join us. This means that you will also agree to be in this public chart here. And and be part of our Say Forever list on Twitter and be a part of our conversation of better strategies on Twitter. I just want to say that right now, if we want to actually create some waves, some trend, longevity trend in the world, we need Twitter, right? And how many Twitter celebrities in longevity movement are there? You can look up how many followers like Peter Diamandis has or David Sinclair has, and these are like two like maybe okay. So Brian Johnson right now is very popular. I mean, there are a handful, like 10 or 12 people with maybe hundreds of thousands, or rather tens of thousands. It's not a lot. It's quite a lot if you just join the network. I mean, if you just join this social network, the Twitter, but it's not a lot in the scale of Twitter itself. Actual celebrities there, they have millions. So we are still not really visible outside of our bubble. But collectively, like together, see what we did here with this chart? Like within a month, people who, like most of them, don't even speak English. I must be honest with you. But they learn how to use all the tools. They weren't confident enough to tweet in English. I mean, they can't read, they understand what they're saying there. But collectively they just created this, sorry, I'm repeating the same word there, collective philosopher there, and we can help each other grow the number of followers, representation, and whatnot. We can go and create very interesting conversations with other people outside of our bubble. And I just invite you to join us on this tool. So yeah, we're not just doing street surveys now, because, well, objectively, not everyone can join. It's just sometimes you cannot do that, and there is a limit of how fast this way of promoting the idea can grow. And we're only interested in the ways that have this acceleration potential. So yeah, if we constantly test different ways of get people involved, different ways of affect the longevity industry, and if we see that this tool or this approach is not, doesn't have this acceleration thing about it feature, we're trying to test some new things. So we're still doing the surveys, don't get me wrong, but right now we can see that, well, yeah, Twitter is actually a really great tool. We have to be there. We just, it grows naturally. So next thing, Stay Forever. What is it? It's an easy entrance and instructions for anyone who wants to transfer from observer to participant. People are interested in longevity movement. Some are following like this YouTube channel, for instance, or some others. Some are following, I don't know, like reading books on longevity, or even occasionally going to like this or that conference or meeting. But I wouldn't say there are many ways to be actively involved, not just follow, but affect what's happening to the field. If you want to accelerate the process, and well, you would rather want to do that because our lives are at stakes, and we cannot just relax, sit and wait for other people to actually solve aging. This is too much of an important thing to not be actively involved in it. Again, our lives are at stake. So if you want to be actively involved, what do you do if you are not a scientist, or you cannot like start a startup, or you don't even believe that it's yet another business that will solve longevity? What do you do then? Well, this is how longevity field is being seen from outside, right? Very rich people are doing weird stuff that is like questionable, morally questionable, and also not affordable. Or some people are like in longevity from outside. They're just, okay, this is a scientist or this is a business person. I will never be able to do this or that. So I'm not joining this. I'm just observing. Let them do them and we'll just see. I don't want that. I don't want to be seen weird, and I don't want this like bubble that is not inviting for other folks, because longevity is a very well easy idea. Staying alive is good, dying is bad. There is nothing super fancy about it. It has to be inclusive. It's for everyone. Yeah, and we started to come up with ideas how to get people involved actively. What tasks can we give them for them to do something useful and easy? Both, right? And we started with this street surveys in May or April, even. Yeah, this is us doing this all over the country, all over US and other countries too. And since then, we started to do Save Forever days every first Saturday of the month, and we just had one, September 2nd was yet another Save Forever Day. On a Save Forever Day, we publish a new script, so a list of questions for you to ask the people on the streets. And you just, take your notepad, take our script, and go ask people on the streets what they think about longevity. We ask a couple of questions and always ask, how long do you want to live? As human scientists invented anti-aging therapy, it's affordable to everyone, and you will stay young and healthy, and there are no side effects. Like, so we picture this perfect picture and ask people how long they want to live, and also some other things, and see the correlation. Well, we try to evaluate the correlation there. So this is our campaign. Yes, we collect some data and we present some insights afterwards. Sometimes we have enough data to present it, sometimes not. But what is most important here is, well, you have a chance to speak people on the street about longevity and maybe introduce them to the field. And also people that are interested in longevity locally in their city, in their country, sometimes they don't like have nothing to do. And finally they have something, they have a community to join and do something useful, and I really like it. I like that, like Longevity Biotech Fellowship has local chapters right now, and they're mostly like focused in bringing people into the industry. So, well, the script that they're given, script, they're more intricate in how they introduce people to into the field. They have to be professionals, and it's great. We really like it. But there are people that don't want to be like professionals in the field, but want to be involved too. And so, yeah, we give them these scripts or some other really easy tasks to do. Well, we try to make them easy. Yeah, this is our current script, the September one. There are only two questions here. First is, would you like to see the future in 300 years? And the second is like, how long do you want to live, assuming blah, 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 blah. And yeah, this is the form. If you would like to do the same street survey in your city, you can just find it on our website, download and print it, and several sheets of paper. Yeah, age, gender, we also collect on notes. Yeah. What else? This is me doing the street survey in Istanbul. I highly recommend doing the Safe Forever campaign while you travel, because it's not that awkward to do this, not in the city that you know, always in your city where you live. Yeah, if you're embarrassed about your neighbors, yeah, this is not scary at all. Something to fun while you travel. And you can see that we had language barrier with locals, but Google Translate, well, it's working. Yeah, so how to say forever? What are other things to do if you want to be actively involved? Street outreach is our first format. Twitter network, friendly competition. Please be involved in Twitter. You can be part of competition. If you don't want to be part of competition, just join us. Twitter, it helps to have a Twitter representation, even for you personally. And it's easier to do this in a group. So yeah, Twitter, obviously arts, you can create memes, you can do park installations. We once, well, we had huge blocks on the tree and called it like a time tree. And people like to take pictures with objects like that. And yeah, we did that. You can also add some QR codes to these clocks. Why not? Longevity unboxing is something that we would try out sooner. We tried this in Russian. I think we will have to do this in English soon too. We do data collections, we do petitions. Well, whatever you want to do in politics, and you need a group of people who are ready to do something. Well, actively charged people. When you have a petition ready, where do you get the signatures from? Yeah, if we will, you can just send it to us. We will try to find, signees. Yeah. Oh, that is another way of doing the Save Forever. Misha is doing this on chat roulette. I know this is a very weird network, but still, it's a very easy way to be actively involved. If you don't know how to do like anything, if you don't have access, if you have language barrier, if you don't feel safe or confident enough to go into the streets, just talk to people online and maybe even record and post it later. Why not? At least we have this option for you listed. What else? Oh yeah, this is our art project in Susalu, our visual survey. We place these numbers on the ground and ask people how long they want to leave, and they stand next to the numbers. Yep, this is us preparing the whole thing. Took us some time. Here we go. Yeah, I need to edit and post it a little bit later. But we are constantly looking for better, visuals for saying forever, saying like the right things, as we call them, obviously, because these are our things. You can also organize polls online. Well, they are more effective in like the number of people that you can reach. This is Jacob. We found him on Stanford campus, or rather, he found us. And he immediately started the poll inside Stanford like chat system. And while we were going onto the streets and talking to people and collected, I don't know, like maybe 20 answers, he collected, well, 1,352 within 19 hours left, I guess. So yeah, it was fast. Another way of Save Forever. Just give a person a task or an idea, because I think Jacob came up with the idea himself. We just said that we share these values. He agreed with us. He said, yeah, I want to do something about it actively. And this was his proposal. He just did it on his own. Easy peasy. Yeah. So basically, yes, stay forever. We are very much focused on the moral part of longevity, not the practical one, not the financial one, but just the basic saving lives. Staying alive is better than dying. I don't know what could be easier than that. We also very much focused on easy tasks and ways to be actively involved. And this is a network of people, yeah, and a competition too. So if you want to join or help in any way, obviously you're very welcome in our Twitter network. You can just scan this QR code and join us there. You can donate or you can help us fundraise if you know how to do that. Yeah, and maybe let's talk more then.
Yes, thank you very much, Anastasia, for that presentation. It was quite informative, and I think it's quite admirable that you are emphasizing the moral advocacy of longevity, which is tremendously important. So, of course, I would agree because I wrote this book called Death is Wrong, which is the world's first illustrated children's book on indefinite life extension. And it is nearly 10 years old now, so it will need to have some significant updates. But I think that kind of focus, especially aimed at the general public, could bring a lot more supporters to our movement. And among those are people who could do useful work, either scientific research or more advocacy or more analysis of the implications of the arrival of meaningful longevity treatments, as well as essentially trying to defuse some of the concerns or criticisms that members of the public and politicians and journalists might have. But I wanted to ask you a brief question, and then we will move on to questions from the panel. So, with regard to this Twitter competition, I'm glad to see that the US Transhumanist Party is in second place. How does one get on this Twitter ranking?
We just rank the number of followers and how many followers you have in total and how many you gained or lost like during the last day. We also look at that. But mostly, yes, the number of followers. But this is just the start. I don't want to compare people only by the number of followers. Sometimes the quality of the content is very important too. Well, and I'm sure you will agree. I don't know how we will measure that. Who will be the judge of that? We're still coming up with a better system. We probably will also have leagues because right now there are newbies who wants to join and they barely have hundreds of subscribers, followers, and you already have like 10K and Nada has more than 10K. It's not engaging enough to to enter the competition like that. So we will have to divide into leagues.
Interesting.
So yeah,
So, if one wants to be added to the list, and let's say one has a few hundred followers or more, what can one do to be included? And are these rankings published somewhere?
Yeah, I think we will just give you the link. You can add it to the description of this video. And I showed the QR code a couple of times in my slides. You just fill in the simplest form. I think it just has like one space there, just your Twitter handle. Entering their Twitter handle means that you agree that you will be added to our Twitter list. You will be added to the chart that I showed you, and hopefully it will be shown better. I mean, the visuals will be better, not just a Google spreadsheet, but it will be public. Yeah, the chances are your name could be public, but I mean, your Twitter handle will be public, no, nothing more. Yeah, and you will also be added to the conversation. We are all in Twitter groups, Twitter chats, or well, Twitter chats are frankly not the best way to organize a conversation, so we mostly are on Telegram forums. You can separate into different topics there and follow and find the latest things there. It's more convenient to organize work. So we're there and we share some insights with each other. Hey, this is like this interesting Twitter tool. You can analyze like how fast you gain the number of followers, or maybe you're shadow blocked, or something is happening. Not everyone is like a super specialist, like SMM specialist there, and we all need some advice in how to grow and how to use the Twitter tool. Yeah, so it's very friendly and it showed its efficacy the first month. They were only like 10 people who never used Twitter before, but always wanted to start it. And like just each of us, we couldn't find enough like energy and time to do that. We all been using like other social media and already had followers there, and it's really hard to transfer somewhere we barely have any. But together, it's not that stressful, and we figured out the mechanics, what to do, and it's not that scary to ask each other silly questions. Yeah, and also we followed each other, so immediately from like nothing, we all gained followers, and the number of followers is still growing naturally. If you join the network now, the chances are, well, you will subscribe to some people that are interested in, and people will subscribe back if your description is interesting, if you have like a picture, preferably. If I mean, if people look at your account and understand what that is going to be about. So pretty easy tools there. And also X, I mean, not Twitter anymore, they added some, well, financial tools recently. I'm not sure you can use them with just 100 of followers, but it's a motivation. It's just an additional motivation to stay there, maybe even profit from being an advocate. If you become a great enough advocate, you'll have also a chance to, I mean, to live with that. But what's the most important thing is that together, like longevity crowd has to create this presence, Twitter presence. And I want our ideas, our morals to be represented and to be explained better. As there are only people that are, well, hopefully talking about this. They're actually not really talking about this. Nobody cares. But those who do, they barely understand what the thing is about. And I want to explain better. I want to like bring it all, all of the like philosophical complexity that we came up with together. And I want to do this, but I want people to have, well, motivation to stay on Twitter. And Twitter is a very successful like business network. It knows how to keep people inside. It does it for me. I don't have to motivate people to poke them to my volunteers. Hey, work, tweet. Twitter actually, well, motivates them themselves with the likes and all. That's why I don't encourage everyone in our network to like everyone. You should like only something that you actually like. Otherwise, the likes won't work as motivation tool. Let's not break these mechanics with people. But anyway, us being there and also competing with each other and helping each other. Hey, I just gained 100 followers. How did you do that? This or that. But I'm gonna tell you, but I will also do my thing, but and maybe take the first place. We managed to combine both the competition and also helping out each other in growing there. Yeah.
Excellent. Well, I really like your comment about Twitter as a motivational tool. And indeed, it seems to motivate certain kinds of productivity, at least productivity in terms of spreading the word, in terms of outreach. And Aubrey, of course, has been prolific in using his Twitter account to inform people of longevity events as well as his own insights into the field. So, Aubrey, perhaps you have a question or a comment for Anastasia.
Sure. Yeah, thanks. So great to see you here, Nastia. A couple of things. First of all, a couple of comments, then a couple of questions. Yeah, I'm particularly sad that you couldn't make it to Dublin this year, but you're definitely coming next year. We haven't got dates yet, but we're going to be announcing those very soon. But part of the reason I say that is because there are a couple of things that happened in Dublin which may be a good thing for what you're doing and for what we're all doing. In particular, there may be a sign that this year will be a tipping point. So I've always been a little reluctant to draw a hard line between the moral arguments for doing something about aging and the practical arguments. It seems to me that it could be argued, and it actually is argued by some people, that it's not moral to aim unrealistically high because it distracts from what we can do that is realistic. So the question is, what's realistic, of course, as you said earlier in your remarks. And here are the two things. The first thing is the X Prize. There's a couple of people here who were in Dublin on one of the days during the conference. a representative of the X Prize, Jamie Justice, who has joined the X Prize Foundation very recently, gave a kind of preliminary soft announcement of something that's going to be properly announced towards the end of November at a meeting in Saudi Arabia, namely an X Prize for longevity. Now, you won't like the name of the prize. It's being called the Health Span X Prize. But the good news is that that's just for, marketing purposes. I was involved I oversaw the design of the prize a couple of years ago now. The reason why nothing's happened in the meantime is basically because Peter Diamandis had to go out and actually get the money in. But here's the thing. The X Prize Foundation has been so successful over the past 20 years because Peter Diamandis has an extremely keen sense of the happy medium between audacity and achievability. Those are the words he likes to use. I've been working with him, chatting with him for maybe 15 years about doing a longevity prize. And we never got anywhere because we never found a formula that would achieve that happy medium in his eyes until now. So, I can't describe anything that hasn't been described publicly because a lot of people would be very angry if I did. But in November, you will see what this is all about. And the thing is, that to me is a big tipping point. That what's achievable and what's audacious have now come close enough together to be able to be combined. The other thing that happened in Dublin, which I kind of soft announced, is something that I actually sent you, Nastia, earlier today. And I wonder if you've got some comments about why I sent you it, namely the open letters to decision makers and policy makers that you guys have been working on. You didn't mention any of that in your remarks just now, so I wonder if you could say something about it. But the reason why I'm particularly interested is because in Dublin, I announced that Brian Kennedy and I have been working along with Martin O'Dea on getting some text together, which is not as audacious as Say Forever might want, but it's a lot more audacious than anything that's been done before. And we've been able to bring together already rather a large number of really A-list luminaries from the field, and we're going to be launching that fairly soon. So, Anastasia, can you talk about your open letters, please?
Yeah, I'm sad that I couldn't be there in Dublin. It's another visa for me. It's very complicated, but hopefully next time. But yeah, it's great to hear the news and the open letters. So we have some people in our group, and they're interested and focused on different aspects and different projects. And Vladimir is interested in open letter. He wants to work on that. We have nothing against it. Obviously, it's great to have an open letter stating some very important things and gather signatures there. We're just not me and Misha. We're not super focused on it because we want to grow the field, grow the network first, for them to sign all the letters we want. Because if we will start signing now, well, it's gonna be yet another change.org. No one is actually caring about the open letter. I will just send you his details if you're interested, and
Please do.
I will be very curious to see your open letter. It's not open yet, right?
Right. But I sent it to you by email today.
Oh, yeah, I haven't seen it yet. Sorry.
Okay.
So yeah, to anyone here who wants to reach to me, Aubrey is using email, and it's great that most of your emails got to me on time. Just pure coincidence, by the way, because I'm not really often go to my email. I'm mostly on social media, as you can tell. So Twitter or Telegram Messenger is the fastest way to get me. But yeah, Aubrey, I will take a look at it. Of course, yeah, I'm very interested, even if it's not as audacious as we want. If there is nothing we are opposed with, hooray to that. It's great. If you want our signatures, our help with it, I'm sure our folks will be happy to join. And also, we are not super strict with our I mean, we kind of are and are not. It's hard to tell. Like, we're welcoming a lot of folks into our network. Some are not that like radical. Some are not ready to stay forever. They like the name. They understand like it's like just good branding, but they're not really like 100% on board with the forever word. Okay, it's fine if you agree with other important things that are important to us. You are also welcome. So if your letter is not 100% ours, doesn't mean that we wouldn't like it. Yeah.
And actually, Gennady just put the link to Vladimir's letters in the chat.
Okay, great. Yeah. Yeah,
Yes.
Vladimir Shakirov. Yeah, this is him.
Great.
And the competition, the X Prize. Well, this was not the first longevity competition that Peter launched, the X Prize. Let's see how this one will be new from the previous ones.
Well, it kind of is the first, actually. I mean, I'm not sure what you're referring to. He's done a genomics prize before. He's done a few things like that, but this is the first bona fide aging prize.
Oh, is it? I'm pretty sure there was another one. Let me look into that then. Okay, yeah, let's see what the terms are. I hopefully he's not saying that bring me an anti-aging drug and I will grant you the prize, because this will be ridiculous.
It's a bit better than that.
No? Okay, cool.
All right. Well, some promising news coming up, both in regard to the declaration that Aubrey and Brian Kennedy have put together and are quite actively gathering signatories for, as well as the open letter that Vladimir Shakirov has prepared. And that letter has gone through multiple iterations, but a link will be included in the description of this video for people to check that out. Now I would like to invite Dr. Jose Cordero to pose his question.
Well, first of all, congratulations, Anastasia, for all you are doing. And I love, obviously, the idea of Safe Forever. And I share completely all your concerns. As you can see in my back is my book, my global bestseller, which is also published in a dozen languages, The Death of Death. And it has a subtitle, The Scientific Possibility of Physical Immortality and Its Moral Defense. So I totally support your idea. This is the most moral imperative. Actually, talking about Peter Diamandis, because we have been mentioning the X Prize, he went to the Vatican, to the Science Committee of the Vatican, and he said something really incredible. The morality of immortality and the immorality of mortality. I think this is very deep concept, the morality of immortality and the immorality of mortality. I also explain in my book that human rights begin with the right to life. And actually, I think it's the only right, because if you are not alive, you have no other rights. You have no right of property. You have no right of privacy. You have no right of liberty. So even though the United Nations has the human rights, and the first one is the right to life, it should be right number 1, number 2, number 3, number 4, number 5, because without the right to life, there are no other rights. So I just wanted to make that comment. Also, I do have a question, because October 1st and the whole month of October is Longevity Day. And this was taken from the United Nations. October 1st is the day of older people. And so 10 years ago, a group of people, we decided to hijack that holiday, that date, and change it to the Longevity Day. So October 1st now, for 10 years, has been celebrated as Longevity Day. And in fact, the whole month of October, we call Longevity Month. In Madrid, I am organizing a big march, a demonstration, taking banners, talking about longevity and the importance longevity is for Madrid and for Spain. In fact, let me tell you, the European Union released some statistics last month, and Spain has the longest lifespan of all of European countries, and Madrid is the capital with the longest life expectancy in the European Union. So this is very important to Madrid and to Spain, because we have the longest life expectancy. as the capital and as the country, followed closely by Italy and other countries, but Spain is number one right now, according to the statistics of the European Union. And that is why we are doing this march, this demonstration on October 1st, and we will release a manifesto. We will have a longevity manifesto from Madrid and Spain. And so my question, Save Forever, what kind of activities are you planning for October 1st, Longevity Day, and for the whole month of October as Longevity Month?
Oh, we will obviously have to come up with the best of the best scripts that we had so far for October, because October is special. It's a longevity month, it's true. We haven't decided yet. It's almost in a month. Yeah, we'll have to think about it, but we'll definitely will be part of it. It is important. We'll have another script, and also, the Save Forever Day in October will be October 7th. And at first, okay, it's even better. More festives, more celebrations during October. I don't know. We haven't decided yet.
Let me continue with the International Longevity Alliance. As you know, Ilya Stambler in Israel, he's organizing an activity in Tel Aviv. Didier Cornell is organizing an activity in Brussels, in the European Parliament. Other people are organizing activities in Berlin, in Germany. I want to hear also what Gennady is doing in the USA. And as I mentioned, in Madrid, we will make a lot of noise because of the responsibility we have now as having the longest life expectancy of any European capital and of any country in Europe.
Yes. And I think those are quite admirable initiatives. As far as what the U.S. Transhumanist Party will be doing, October 1st is a Sunday, so we will have a virtual Enlightenment Salon on that day. And it will be a compilation stream of comments from the leading figures in the longevity movement. And we invite anybody watching this stream, if you wish to offer some comments for International Longevity Day, please let me know or send me a video. And Jose, we would be thrilled to have you contribute to this compilation. We want as many people as possible to be involved. And this stream will be essentially an outpouring of support for the longevity cause, as well as insights from various individuals as to the status of this quest for radical life extension, indefinite life extension, rejuvenation, immortality, living forever, however people want to characterize the goal. We'll want to get many perspectives for this salon.
We will send you videos, in fact, of our march. We are going to begin in the Congress of Spain. Then we will go to the City Hall. Then we go to the state headquarters, and we finish in the local headquarters of the European Parliament in Madrid. So we will cover like the top institutions in this march. So we will send you videos, because this we will do at midday. We are also calling several journalists to cover this, and we are writing a press release, plus the manifesto, the Longevity Manifesto from Madrid.
I will also recommend, and we did it last year, we did the art residency in Tel Aviv. So we just invited a bunch of artists. We talked about transhumanism, life extension ideas, and I think Aubrey was one of the speakers. Yeah, I was. And it ended up being an exhibition of transhumanistic art. So you still have time. You can go to local, I don't know, like arts universities and go and talk to students and brief them with the idea, like, hey, we're going to have this march. And these are like the statements that we want to emphasize there. Maybe you can like come up with better visuals. And yeah, so you will have like posters, like funny posters, or beautiful, interesting, like add some visuals there. There's Burning Man right now happening. Mud Pool Man happening. But yeah, it is still there, and quite a lot of artists are there, and they're very creative. Well, it takes them months to create the installations that they do there. But I don't know, get in touch with the folks like these, and not only walking onto the streets with your bare hands, but actually carrying something funny. Because it has to be not only about the old people, but also about I don't know, like life, and how do we actually achieve life extension. I mean, there are many things to visualize there. And I have nothing against old people, but no. We have to show it all, everything, all the spectrum, and maybe even the horror of death and aging too. Yeah. And there is like this guy that's just writing stuff on the cardboard and taking pictures, and he's like the phenomenon on Instagram. You can just try to be funny on what you actually, writing there. Maybe organize several brainstorm sessions, preferably live ones, not online, with a group of people that you will be doing this with. Yeah, a month to prepare. It's not a lot. Yep.
Still, a lot can be done, and it
Yeah, but
looks
still
like,
a lot can be done. Yeah.
yes, Jose has some quite ambitious plans that he outlined for longevity activists in Europe. Interestingly enough, Burning Man brings up a good point that was made at a longevity summit Dublin by Dr. Robert Conrad Maciejewski, who had a slide on his screen with just one message, and this was his number one message: don't die. So people need to be careful about what kinds of events, what kinds of activities they get themselves into, because the risk of death from accidental causes or from natural disasters is also one that ought to be considered, and people should factor that into their approach to longevity. Now I wanted to raise a question that Jason Geringer posed in our chat. He is wondering if Save Forever is an attempt to move the Overton window to get people to think about super longevity instead of just living a little longer. What do you think?
So this is why we are also trying to collect the answers to our question, to understand people's perspective on life extension, because we don't know for a fact if this Overton window is being expandable or not at all. There's still a possibility that there's a group of us that is pro longevity and the other that will never be pro longevity. We don't know that, but yeah, it's an attempt for sure. But I would say that the most important thing right now is to find all the people that want to be actively involved and give them the tasks to be involved, to actually be involved. Because right now we don't really have our early adapters, early users. They don't do anything basically. They just look at longevity industry like with awe or with hope. They're not actively involved in any way. And I want to solve this for starters. And I think there are hundreds of thousands, maybe more people that could be very, very actively involved. And doing that will already create a big enough group, a recognizable movement. But most likely there are groups with with defined morals and views, and there are quite a big group in between, which is just indecisive and will just join the group that has better marketing or sexier people in the groups. I don't know whatever works for them. So yeah. So number one task is um, making people that are already on our side be actively involved, and the number two is probably spread this. I mean, open the window wider and invite more people into the group. Yeah.
Yes, thank you for that answer, Anastasia. And I think it is important to mobilize the people who are already within the movement, who want to be making contributions, but maybe they're not sure exactly how to do it. And some of your approaches have certainly helped people realize what they could be doing. Daniel Tweed in our chat writes that it looks like you are making good use of QR codes and hashtags, and our movement needs more usage of these tools. Now, he also wonders, are you positioning your organization, that is Open Longevity, to be the premier entry point for the general public into the longevity movement? Will you have a comprehensive directory of the movement available on your site with regard to initiatives, individuals, organizations that people could follow or get involved with if they want to delve into certain aspects in greater depth?
I really want to create a page, like a longevity onboarding page on Open Longevity. It makes sense because, we want to be that organization, but create such I don't know if this is going to be just one page or like several pages. It's a lot of work. We started to create such an onboarding page several weeks ago. I know like Mark Hamalainen also wants to create the longevity flyer. He has been talking about this. Like, hey, if you meet someone on the street and this person is interested in longevity, what do we actually give them? Like some of us have books, like Jose here. Well, I actually have a book too. I don't carry it around with me. Some of us also probably have books. But what do you do? You don't give the books. If you show the QR code, which one? Your social network or like social media or whatever. So yeah, we do need that. Sometimes I actually use Fight Agent blog. He still has like one of the best lists of everything. Carl Flagger also is a good source of lists, of good quality lists in the industry. But yeah, we need that. I really want this to happen eventually, to such a page be created. I have a list of things that I want there. I have a document describing it, but not the web page itself yet. If you want to be part of such a project, I will be really, really, really happy to get some help. Frankly, yeah, this is just my wishes, but I'm not sure when I will find the resources and people to do it.
Yes, and hopefully that set of wishes can be fulfilled. Now, on the question of resources and people, I would say Open Longevity has been quite successful in mobilizing people to engage in activism and take more than just the role of a passive observer. So if you could share some insights as to how you've been able to do that, how you've been able to mobilize sympathetic individuals, and what the ingredients of a successful mobilization are.
Yeah, I will try to. Okay, I will try to structure that. First of all, as and it's pretty similar with, I don't know, like romantic relationships. If you want to find someone suitable for you, don't pretend to be someone you're not. So we are very open on our social media about our like morals, like what we think is good or bad. We don't pretend to be like anyone else. Well, hopefully we try not to. And this attracts the right type of people, at least the people that are close to us and that we can go forward with. If we are constantly talking about, hey, proactive is very important, being proactive is very important, you will get proactive people. Then, well, we communicate with people a lot. We don't plan to make a group chat. We do it. We just do it daily. I have so many group chats, and they're all very active. Some of us are working on longevity, just it's a full-time job. Sometimes we manage to find some funding for that. Sometimes we struggle, like most of the time we struggle, but without at least like 3 or 4 people constantly working on that as a full-time job, I don't think it's possible. Because we have an idea and everyone is very excited, and for a month or two this project is very like lively and it's happening naturally, but if you don't see the result, it's it's losing momentum eventually. And if there are no responsible people that are hands on wheels or actually working on that constantly, it just fades off. So yeah, you need couple of people at least to be serious about it. So yeah, We are very active on social media. We are very open about our values on social media. We are also organizing, chats and group talks and forums. I don't know. And also, we have been always very much focused on what instructions to give to people. If we want people to be involved, how exactly are we expecting them to be involved? And back in the days, like 7 years ago, we were thinking, okay, diagnostics. This is the easiest thing we can ask people to do. Run the diagnostics. This is the list of tests. You do this and upload the data, and we will try to, play with your data. And this is your ways of being usefully involved in longevity. Then we, thought more about the diagnostic thing. It still has been an unresolved task, scientific task of a longevity movement. We're not really sure what the agent diagnostic is. So we paused a little bit on that, and we've been organizing longevity schools back in the day. Also, another way for people to be actively involved. But we are evolving. We're like, okay, can we do it now? COVID hit. We couldn't proceed with longevity schools for a couple of days because a couple of years because of that. We were trying to come up with some other solutions. If you want people to be involved, just think about it constantly. Ask yourself, how do we make people involved actively if you want people to do something? We just brainstorm about it all the time.
Very good. So you make that a focus and you're very open and forthright about your objectives. You have a culture of activity. You keep up a very robust social media presence. And it's interesting, Daniel Tweed writes that open source projects are notorious for getting to only a 90% completion because it takes special effort and dedication to get them the rest of the way. That remaining 10% may not be easy or intuitive. There may be some hurdles to overcome, and it takes determination. And as you pointed out, there need to be at least a few very dedicated people who are willing to see these projects through. So this is all very helpful, I think, to anyone who wants to motivate this kind of activity. Now, Jason raises a concern about Twitter, which is now X. I think X is a kind of strange name for a service. One, because it's a single letter, and I don't know if you can have x.com. And second, X can connote former. So I'm not sure that's exactly the best name for a social media platform. But what Jason points out is the code was leaked recently, and it seems that the algorithm on X has been suppressing some content and boosting other content. Not a surprise, other social media networks have been doing the same thing, but Elon Musk in particular has expressed skepticism about longevity. He has had some, I would say, poorly considered tweets. And Jason, at least, would not trust Elon Musk not to suppress the topic of longevity. On the other hand, Elon Musk has spoken about the importance of free speech. So do you think X, formerly known as Twitter, is the kind of platform where longevity advocates will have free reign, where even if the owner doesn't agree with us, he won't deploy algorithms to de-emphasize our messages?
That's a good question. And I ask myself the same question all the time. No, it makes sense. He controls Twitter, obviously, and he's not for longevity, openly not. So there is a question there. We don't know, and frankly, I'm pretty sure that Elon doesn't know either. I don't think he has any plans against longevity. He doesn't care too much about it. To have like this villain plan against longevity. I will block this content though. I'm pretty sure we don't really get that much of attention. Hopefully we will. Well, while it's still the most strong political instrument, we have to use it. But it's not like if you are just a blogger, right, you will just build your account there, your presence there, and if something happens with your account, well, you're fucked. You will have to recreate this account on some other platform. Hopefully, it won't be. I mean, hopefully there still will be some other social media, not owned by just one or two people on the planet. But yeah, but if you're a network, as we are, and there are hopefully in the future thousands of people, we will just be able to migrate to other network or create another, like a third network of our own. It's not that everything will be lost in vain, as if when Elon decides to block longevity content, like totally, which frankly, I doubt this will happen. And also, it's kind of fun that he's against it, because not everyone likes Elon. Not everyone likes what he's done to Twitter, starting with the change of the name, with rebranding, and us arguing with him. Well, it wins us some audience first, and also it's a great excuse to create content. He tweets something, and I have like so many ways and excuses and like entrance to create my tweets, like to joke around it. If Twitter, if imagine if Elon would be just like vanilla about longevity, I think more people will first of all hate longevity even more, and also what will I tweet about? I need someone to argue with. I don't know. I'm not too worried about Elon yet. And if something happens, I think we will just migrate elsewhere.
Yes.
Yeah, that's what we do too. We keep spread across different platforms, so that way, yeah, it's redundancy is good. A network. Good.
Yeah.
Go ahead, Manny.
Yes, and I agree about redundancy, diversification. I also agree with arguing with Elon Musk on Twitter. So when he first made his remarks and criticism of longevity, I made a post that reads, "Sorry, Elon Musk, death is no more essential to human progress than car crashes are to automotive progress. Think more rationally." So I was urging him to think more rationally. I don't know if he has accepted that challenge quite yet, but if enough people engage with him on this, perhaps he will at least amplify the topic a bit.
Yeah.
Now, I wonder also in regard to the health span rhetoric, Daniel suggested that Elon Musk probably would not suppress commentary on health span. Of course, I think it's quite important how that commentary is made. If somebody talks about promoting health span but not lifespan, I think that would be counterproductive, because that's the whole compression of morbidity paradigm, where people who are healthy up until their late 80s or 90s all of a sudden would drop dead. And it's a fairly unrealistic type of aspiration as well. But if people use messaging to the effect of, you cannot have longer health span without longer lifespan, and you cannot have longer lifespan without longer health span, then seeing those two as complementary and as mutually reinforcing might essentially bring some people on board with radical life extension. What do you think about that possibility? And do you think that kind of messaging is productive, or is it too timid in your view?
Well, if we're still talking about Elon Musk, his major concern is that we won't have. He's concerned about gerontocracy. What's the word there? That older guys will stay in power and nothing will change, and he wants ideas to change. Basically, this is what he's concerned about, and there is such an easy answer to that. Like, hey, biology of aging will also deal with brain aging, and you won't be that bothered with aged people in power. They won't be aged anymore. They will just be people who collected some wisdom, but still are very flexible in their ideas. I don't know. Pretty sure someone already answered that. It just doesn't probably believe that it's going to happen soon enough to be serious about it. I don't know. But combining health span and lifespan, yeah, it also has been brought to his attention, I'm pretty sure. Um, I don't know. He kind of makes it so easy to argue with him. I don't know. I know what to answer to everything that he's saying, which makes my life a little bit easier even.
Yes. Well, I think for seasoned longevity advocates, it is easy to answer all of the common criticisms because we have encountered them before. We have encountered them pretty much in every permutation. I have not seen an original critique of longevity for perhaps 5-6 years at the very least. And Elon is certainly not making original arguments here. Now, Daniel is wondering, is Elon's contrariness to longevity actually stimulating more engagement for the topic, at least if we approach it the correct way, if we do what you're doing and responding to his points and essentially motivating others to do the same thing and take part of the conversation?
We need to understand that us arguing with Elon straight away won't actually reach Elon directly. It will be just us having excuses to tweet about something. And yeah, sometimes my tweets about something I disagree with Elon gain its likes. It's just a way of creating content. But I think if we actually want to reach Elon at some point in time, we need to move gradually. We need to gradually grow the power of the network. So add more and more people with a lot of followers, and hopefully we will get the attention of someone from outside of longevity field with like 10k followers, then 100k, then hundreds, then hopefully million, and then yes, we will be on the same level as like Twitter celebrities to actually talk for him to talk with us. Well, I've seen Peter Diamandis tweeted Elon's post or something. They obviously know each other, or at least know each other on Twitter. Well, Peter has like a great network that we know for a fact. So I'm pretty sure they just know each other personally. But yeah, if we want to do this as a network, it will just happen gradually. And of course, yeah, there is a chance of us getting some talented, funny folks on board who will just tweet like memes and jokes and whatever, and it will just they will just gain followers naturally. Yeah, we need to create our Twitter celebrities. Some young, maybe not necessarily young, I don't know, bold ideas there. I think we need to be more funny on Twitter. This is how it works. Please don't be just boring and like patronizing, moralizing. Yeah, this is our strong suit. We can be very like complex and layered and thought through in our philosophy, which is great. Uh, but also people go there to have some fun, to what's the word there, to doom scroll, right? And you need some fun content too. Please don't forget about it on Twitter. But you do you. We all are different. The network will be consistent of people of very different styles. Some will be joking, some will be I don't know, like presenting some very complicated content about their like scientific research, even in biology. Like, well, why not? Let's see, like, let the best man win. Yeah.
Yes, indeed. And let us experiment with various approaches, including humorous or lighthearted approaches that might reach certain audiences, especially people who are there for kind of a quick fix of entertainment, but we could channel that entertainment in constructive directions. And Jason says that he thinks you are exactly right about gerontocracy, and that Elon does not understand that the brain will be young and we will retain the plasticity of mind. Now I wanted to go to Art Ramon Garcia to see if he has any questions.
Not so much questions, maybe some ideas. Maybe if you can sort of, if you have the opportunity to target your survey events, say like at a public memorial when someone famous dies. I know there's a lot of people who gather, provided they died of like old age, not a mass shooting or something. That might be a good place to target, to do a survey event at these public memorials. It's usually like a celebrity of some type, where the people just gather someplace and create one. And maybe another place to sort of target a survey event is some sort of sport that is really risky. And the other thing that sort of comes to mind are like base jumpers. So you've got a bunch of base jumpers and they're jumping off a cliff and parachuting down. Maybe that would be a good place to target, and I'm sure there are other sporting type events that are kind of dangerous. That would be a good place to target. Just some thoughts.
So you just want to start with people hating on us, right? Us stopping whatever they like to do. Like, hey, maybe it's not that of a good idea to jump. You've been planning for this for weeks. Maybe don't do this. It's stupid.
It would be very subtle. It would be very subtle. You'd have to.
No, I like your theory, actually. I like it. Like we were, Misha had the ideas of interrupting funerals, like stealing the body and I don't know, like putting into like a freezer or something. Introduce them to cryonics in some creative way. Yeah, so sometimes you have to. Sometimes you can be. I don't know. You not necessarily will be liked by everyone, but you will be seen and you will get into news and you will get your followers. Maybe not these exact people, but some others. Who knows? Yeah, let's be creative.
So Daniel writes, would you rather die doing what you love or live forever doing what you love? And I think that is perhaps a message that we could communicate to people who say, well, I enjoy this activity. I don't care if it shortens my life because I'm doing what I love. Well, maybe you can get the best of both worlds. And it doesn't require doing something to make people hate us. It, I think, sometimes just requires making a rational argument about essentially the relative merits of doing an activity or not doing it, or taking certain safeguards and precautions, because that could always be an option for people as well. Now, I want to make sure that everybody gets to ask at least one more question. And I have a few, but I want to go to Jose to see if he would like to ask anything further or expand upon what was previously discussed.
Well, thank you, Gennady. I want to emphasize again the moral imperative indeed. Human rights, the number one human right, and number two, and number three, and number four is the right to life of everybody, not just young people, older people too. So this is my emphasis. Also, in advanced economies, in the OECD, 90% of the people die of age-related diseases. 90%. This is the major cause of dying for all advanced economies. That is incredible. That means that 10% is all the other causes of death altogether. For example, wars, terrorism, religious fighting, climate change, suicides, homicides, AIDS, malaria, etc., etc., etc. All of those together only at 10% of the people dying in advanced economies. So we need to identify what is the target, what is the enemy, and the moral imperative. So do you use that argument, Anastasia? And not only in advanced economies, even in the poorest countries in Africa now, over half of the people die of age-related diseases. Of course, people still die of malaria, AIDS, accidents, etc., etc., etc. But even in the poorest countries, over half of the people die of age-related diseases. So we need to understand that this is truly a moral imperative, because this is killing everybody in the planet, and it is the number one cause of death and suffering for humanity.
I think people understand that, frankly. I know. Well, I know this argument. We have been using it too. Of course, yes, aging is the major cause of death and age-related diseases. But well, my guess is people don't go into fighting aging because they don't believe that spending their as little resources as they have on that will actually get them anywhere. They would rather live their life as it is, enjoy at least some of it, rather than fight for something. It's just people that are under like our umbrella of morals. They think that this is like the thing that makes the most sense is to try to make your life longer. As soon as you realize that this is a possibility, I mean, it's possible to act in favor of life extension. There is something for all of us to do in this sense. As soon as you realize it, all other activity is just so mundane, so not important anymore. Um, I don't know. Maybe we need to introduce people to more options, what to actually do in favor of life extension. Maybe then they will be more actively involved. But that's
Let me
yeah.
continue, because the COVID pandemic, which is a very small pandemic in historic terms. For example, the bubonic plague, the Black Death, killed 1 out of every 3 Europeans. The third of the European population died. Or the Spanish flu, which was not a Spanish and it was not the flu, killed 50 million people a century ago, which is equivalent of 200 million people. That was a real big pandemic. Or AIDS. AIDS has killed 40 million people already. So these are big pandemics. And then aging. Aging is killing everybody. So my point is, if COVID, a very small pandemic in historic terms, very small compared to the Black Death, to AIDS, to the Spanish flu, or aging. So why doesn't aging stop the planet for 2 years like COVID did? 2 years the planet was paralyzed because of this small pandemic, when all of us are dying because of aging. This is really the big enemy. If we are going to paralyze the planet again, it has to be because of aging.
Hopefully. I mean, it's just you all know that aging is a kind of a disease, but in people's minds, in our like culture, uh, people see aging and death very differently from the diseases that they understand. Okay, this is a disease, so we cannot just ask them to treat aging as disease. It's a more complicated task to make them shift their mindset towards that. But yeah, hopefully they will treat it as a pandemic seriously and try to fight it. Of course.
Yes, I think there's an issue where aging is seen as a problem that is so overwhelming that, as many thinkers have put it, including Aubrey himself, people have had strong incentives throughout human history to just put it out of their minds and focus on the day-to-day aspects of their lives that they could control. And to some extent, we have seen that happening with COVID as well. The SARS-CoV-2 virus has not been eradicated, yet a lot of people act right now as if the pandemic is completely over, even though the virus is still circulating, it's mutating, they could still get infected and they could still get serious health consequences. And what people should be advocating for is a universal vaccine or a universal antibody that works against all COVID variants. But we don't see the same kind of push for that as we saw for some of the much less productive measures early on in the pandemic. I think because a lot of people have just resigned themselves to thinking, oh, this virus is just going to remain around and keep infecting people, and we need to figure out ways to move on with our lives. And yet there's still this problem. And aging is a much larger scale example of this. It has been so overwhelming that for millennia, our culture has developed coping mechanisms that are difficult to overcome. And Jason writes, well, yeah, it's a little overwhelming. It's a fight with death itself. What is more epic than that? So giving people the understanding that this is an epic fight, that they can be heroes in this struggle, perhaps as a way to overcome it. But what do you think about that? Is that conviction of one being a hero in this fight something that can be sustained over a long period of time and with large segments of the population?
Yeah, it's a good idea. It's nice to fight this epic battle. Maybe for some it will be, encouraging enough, motivating enough. Just this realization. But we are very much on the on the side of the game where, okay, instructions. If people want to join this epic fight, what exactly would they do? And I think more people will join if they will be given the instructions first. Yeah, let's figure out how to get people into this fight, more people into this fight, not just talk about everything, but think about solutions, how to grow longevity field, life extension field more. A longevity field is like semi existing right now, not moving fast enough, but life extension field is close to non-existing. The field that is, stating this goal is the major one. I mean, this is like my perspective. And if we want to grow this field, we need to think about it constantly. Like, how do we do that? What do we ask people to do to grow the field? Because if they just follow some folks on social media and read the books and call this being in the epic war against death, nope, we're not winning this war against death. Sorry, I'm not sure it will work.
So would you say the difference between longevity and life extension in terms of the terminology that you're using is longevity would seek to extend lifespans, but more within a kind of typical range? So average lifespans would go up maybe by 10, 15 years, whereas life extension would be extending maximum lifespan. And without extending maximum lifespan, you're not really practicing life extension. Is that how you would distinguish the two terms?
I mean, I'm okay with the longevity word. Longevity, means longevity, long life. If only all, the rest of the world will see long life in longevity. But for some reason, like historically, it's a more safe word. Longevity also means, anti-aging topical creams. Longevity also means very safe supplements and diets and stuff like this. This is also longevity. So longevity, it's just, it's just it is as it is. It's just a very broad, word, and there are many things inside of it. And usually, if you say longevity, most of the folks won't even won't even think that you are talking about radical life extension. Yeah, I don't know. It doesn't really mean but we can all understand different word differently. But sometimes it's good to clarify that, radical life extension. This is what I'm into mostly.
Yes.
Immortality.
Yes, and I have no compunctions about using the word immortality or the term living forever. I think extending maximum lifespan is an important objective, and it should definitely be emphasized as part of the set of goals that we should strive toward in the fairly proximate future, really as soon as we can achieve that. But in practice, of course, it would take at least 7 years for maximum lifespan to be extended, because the oldest person right now is 116 years old. So she would need to, if she survives, live for at least 7 years to reach 123. But I hope that that can be achieved sometime in the not too distant future. So I wanted to ask Daniel if he has another question.
Yeah, I like your work, Anastasia. I think it's a useful to ease people into the immortality topic with things like health span, and even I'm thinking we can look at how past cultures have left time capsule kinds of things. Maybe that's a way to ease people into the long-term thinking of our movement, with maybe talk about communication span. And I know we have the Arctic Seed Vault in Svalbard on that island up in the Arctic Circle. And I know there's also a data version in the same mountain now where they're actually storing like QR codes of data. So, I think all these things are positive reinforcers for this long-term thinking that we're trying to get people to have. I was curious, are you still doing the ice bucket challenge? Because I'd be willing to dump a bucket of cold ice water. What do you do? Just say forever and then splash?
You cannot go into this river twice. It worked for
yes.
Cell. It doesn't work for longevity. If you just use a bucket of cold water, nobody will think that this is for longevity. Though in California, it has become very, very popular to, these cold plunges. I don't know. There's something with cold water and people doing something about their health.
Well, that's a celebrity challenge, right? Where the celebrities they say a code word and then they photograph a video of themselves with a bucket of ice water getting dumped on them.
We wanted to come up with something that you can do and will be recognizable, and then celebrities will come on board and also do this. And finally, this will be like a dance, or wearing a T-shirt, or pouring a bucket of cold water onto yourself, or I don't know, lying on the ground, doing like something very recognizable. And this will be, this is for longevity. All right. We were thinking about, okay, what do we do? What would be the action? And we couldn't come up with anything because we are very much into rational thinking here. We cannot waste our time doing weird stuff. So I like that we way towards street surveys, because this is also like a semi-recognizable, maybe not that bold of a bucket of water, but still something, but also makes sense. Especially for longevity. That's why the street surveys actually stuck. But this is not the only way how you say forever.
Yeah, it's kind of like the die-in protests where people do civil disobedience by lying all around. Maybe you could do something like a live forever in, where people carry a sign with the age that they want to be.
We like people that are ready to change themselves to like White House or something, to actually state something. Yeah, but then if you're not on the streets doing anything, you're not recognizable as a movement.
There's a great book called Methods of Nonviolent Action that Gene Sharp wrote, and Gandhi used a lot of those tactics. And if you're looking for, interesting protest, nonviolent action protests, that's a great source.
Yeah.
One other thing, I wonder if philosophically, immortalists are seen as we live in a vibratory universe where you think of a sine wave has a full cycle. And it's almost like it's a current wars between AC and DC. We want to stop that vibration and turn it into a DC wave before it crosses the zero line again. So, maybe there's a philosophical, contrarianism to the immortality question because of that vibratory versus non-vibratory discussion. That's kind of an esoteric analysis that just occurred to me.
I don't know. For me,
that's heavy.
Yeah, I don't go that deep, frankly. And immortality, it can be unachievable. It's too over. What's the word there? Sorry. Uh, um, it's very abstract, right? We cannot even fathom what immortality is. But it's a good goal. It's a good direction. This is where I'm aiming. I might not get there, but I will get further than if I'm not aiming there at all.
Well, we know religions have been using it as a selling point for thousands of years. So it's like people that are religious are halfway to the immortality question.
Yeah.
It reminds me of a quotation from William Lloyd Garrison, a famous abolitionist who advocated for the immediate abolition of slavery. And he said essentially, urge immediate abolition though we may, alas, it will be gradual abolition in the end. We have never argued that slavery would be abolished by a single blow, but that it ought to be, we shall always contend. And that insight, I think, is why it's worthwhile advocating for the most ambitious goals, including immortality, even if we might not reach it, or many of us might not reach it, or if the task is very challenging to achieve. Still, as you said, it would move us in the correct direction. Now, Jason, please go ahead.
Yeah, while I was talking about the ice bucket challenge, there's just a little variation I had an idea of, like a water balloon fight where people can like donate, like $1, and each dollar is a water balloon, and then maybe have you can like sponsor a kid to go out there and have the water balloon fight, maybe the shirts could be like where if you get hit with water, it changes color, I wouldn't mind paying a few bucks to watch kids have a water fight. That's an idea. Another idea I had.
Madrid in October. Yeah, because I can do this on this March in October in Madrid.
Little idea. Another little idea I had. You gotta know how you got the visuals for the street and how the people are on the street for how long they want to live or whatever. You could make a digital one of that. They got AI tools now where you can make yourself look back and forth, looking younger and looking older, and you know what I mean? Could be an interesting little toy that people go online to play with.
So Jason was talking about AI tools, essentially, and the ability to envision how a person might age. So they might take your current photograph and age it by a certain number of years, and then people might see, oh, this is actually a frightening prospect. So what do you think of that possibility as a way of showing people the detriments of aging?
Yeah, it's a nice art project idea. And to be fair, this is not the first time I heard this exact idea. But it's a nice one, and it's easier every month to create something like that. Hopefully, we will like one day have an actual transhumanistic exhibition of like art exhibition, and one of the projects could be something of the sort.
If I could sort of, I had a thought to add, kind of along those lines. My grandmother lived to 96, and she was lamenting that all her friends were dying off without her, and she was growing older without her friends. So maybe if people thought they could take a group of their friends with them into the immortality future, that would be another nice project to visualize who you'd like to go into the future along with, not alone. So you're counteracting that kind of fear of, being immortal all alone idea.
Yeah. Some people like their pets and would like them to live much longer too. Some are worried about the parents or grandparents. Yeah, I would like for like a cool digital, maybe travel and exhibition to be created. This is something we need funding for. I know that Foresight Institute is also focused on artistic projects these days. I would love to collaborate with the guys and create such a digital exhibition. And we also have some cool ideas of like interactive, maybe like 3D art objects. But we need funding for that. We need a sponsor. Artists, the ones that will actually that create something presentable. Um, I almost never came across artists that are ready to work for free. They cannot afford it. So if you want a good quality visuals design art, we will need funding for that. Just something to be in the air. If there's someone watching us and wants to create a transhumanistic art exhibition, there are people with great ideas and skills, and people that are ready to organize such a thing. But we need to pay the artists, especially 3D artists. Please find me or find Alex from Foresight Institute.
And we do have quite a few talented artists in the transhumanist community, including many who use generative AI, which has lowered the barrier to entry. I'm actually hoping, as part of a future Virtual Enlightenment Salon stream, to hold a virtual concert where, alongside my musical compositions, which have been remastered by Jason, as well as a few which have been remastered by others, there will be generative artworks displayed by various members of the transhumanist community, showing various potential futures of humanity, as well as some other interesting scenery that has been generated using these relatively quite new tools. But I think we need all sorts of art, including art that is done the old-fashioned way, as you said, 3D modeling, as well as physical objects, sculptures, for instance. You still cannot generate using AI purely. You would need a physical medium for them. And in one of our prior salons, Discovering the Human Advantages of Transhumanists, Art Ramon walked us through his creative process and how he creates essentially artworks that have this physical dimensionality to them that AI would not be able to readily replicate. So I think we need all kinds in this movement, and every art form is a potential gateway for more individuals to discover longevity, radical life extension, transhumanism, any of these aspirations. Now, I wanted to ask you, Anastasia, with regard to the surveys, what have been some of the preliminary results, if you could summarize them? And are there different surveys for different audiences, like different lengths or different compositions of questions? Because I remember at the SENS Research Foundation event on June 23rd, I came across Mikhail Batin, who was there and who was administering these surveys, but the surveys were quite lengthy. They were multiple pages, and they asked some very specific questions about the biology of aging and what people's opinions were. So I assume those are not the surveys that you would necessarily hand out on the street. So you do have different surveys for different attendees, different audiences, based on what you think their prior knowledge level or level of involvement would be.
Yeah, you're absolutely right. The survey that you came across, Misha was doing, was designed specifically for that event, for specialists in the field. We can use it one more time or adjust it a little bit. Like soon there's going to be a RAD conference in LA, and we will use like some variation of this survey again, I guess. On the streets, so during our Safe Forever campaigning and Safe Forever Day, we use a much simpler script, like 5 questions tops, and doesn't require any knowledge. It's just people's perception on very basic things. So yeah, these are different things. We also have a third option, third questionnaire. It's 100 questions. It's online, and it's about people's perception of death and life extension in general. It's more complicated. It doesn't require special knowledge, but it's lengthy. And you just need to take your time and do this. We use it for big groups of people to then apply cluster analysis, to then apply some network theory to build the networks of people. We are really big fans of network theory. We apply it to both genetic analysis and to analysis of people that we build the networks, basically. So yeah, we also have projects like this too. So thank you for asking. Different audiences, different situations require different surveys, and hopefully we will create even more surveys after that, because sooner or later we will have a big enough group of people who agree with our morals but are not active yet. There's something holding them from transferring into this next superposition of active volunteers or whatnot. And we need to learn how to shift people there. So we need to create another questionnaire to understand people better. If you agree with me on everything, what holds you from sponsoring the research? What holds you from joining the movement? Just another idea of what's the next an intricate and complicated questionnaire we probably will create next. As to what insights we got, well, we mostly approach the approachable people. So we don't really get yet, and this is not the goal. The representative group of people in this or that area. We mostly want to talk to as many people as possible, because this is also an outreach campaign. But people we do talk to, up to 20% answer that they want to live forever. They use this exact word, imagine, not knowing about life extension industry at all. So people want to live extremely longer. It's just somewhere deep inside them. And this is a big enough audience for us. And quite a lot of people want to live, well, maybe not forever, but long, quite long. Also, I think most of the people are hearing this question for the first time in their life. They haven't been even thinking about it, considering life extension. So, especially in States, I was kind of surprised how little people heard about life extension industry at all. So it affects the industry, I'm pretty sure. People, they're just being faced with this question for the first time in their life. So their answer might be like, whoa, I don't know, 70, 80. What do you want from me? Weird people, goodbye. And this is understandable. Maybe if I would be faced with this question out of the blue, maybe this will be my reaction to I'm not sure. So popularization seems to be also a very important thing. Making people to know that there were some advances in life extension. Some compounds seem to be extending the lifespans of animals, and gene therapy is also a cool tool. We extended the lifespan of worms 10 times. You think about it. When we asked people if they heard about life extension industry at all, I was surprised that, well, some people assume they heard about scientists. Not a lot of people heard about Calico company, and not a single person, I don't think anywhere, we talked to 100 people, heard that there were advances in research, that scientists actually managed to extend lifespan on animals in the lab. I don't think we ever got a single yes to this question. And I was like, okay, all right. And this is the major one, I guess. If you haven't heard about that, then yeah, I'm not surprised you don't have any hopes for this industry at all. Yeah. So what else? There were some other interesting insights. Another like personal insight from talking to people and such, I would say that people that want to live forever, that are more radical in their answers, are also more altruistic. They are more ready to work in the movement. They want to do something, and this moral part is what moves them most. They are in the movement for life extension itself, not to profit from it, not for the vanity, not for like whatever. They just want the thing itself, and this means they will be ready to join you, to help you, to work for free. I don't want anyone in our movement to work for free. I want everyone to thrive, but you get what I'm saying. So I know that people in the longevity industry are kind of scared of saying like forever or transhumanism or immortality. But my message for the people in longevity industry is that you might be missing out the most like important, useful, hardworking people there are if you're not reaching out to this audience. Because this audience just wants life extension as it is, without any additional, sprinkles on top, like profit or immediate result, something. Yeah, just
Yes.
something to think about.
Yes, absolutely. This is important to think about because one should never underestimate the ability of a core of motivated individuals who truly care about a cause to actually make great strides toward achieving the goals of that cause. And I really appreciate the extensive discussion of the insights from these surveys. They really give us a lot of valuable information about public perception. And for me, some of my anecdotal observations have certainly resonated with these survey results in terms of the greatest barrier not being public hostility so much as unawareness, particularly in the United States, even though there are often news headlines about research that suggests some possibilities of age reversal or research where successful life extension in certain animals was achieved. But most people don't even notice those headlines. They're just too busy going about their day-to-day lives. So we certainly have a challenge ahead of us in terms of spreading awareness, in terms of getting people even introduced to the longevity community, longevity science, and what has been accomplished already. But fortunately, we do have a lot of dedicated individuals now within our community who are willing to do what the Save Forever campaign is doing now. So that gives me a lot of hope. And unfortunately, our time for our virtual enlightenment salon has come to an end, but I think this was a great discussion with insights presented about the components of effective longevity advocacy, as well as some concrete examples of what has already been achieved with this group of dedicated volunteers that you have assembled. So thank you very much to Anastasia for joining us today. Thank you to our panelists as well for the great questions. And thank you to our audience for watching this. Let's all say forever and live long and prosper.